What's going on, everyone? John here from The Real Talk, back again with another review, and that is for Captain Marvel, which is directed by Annette Boden and Ryan Fleck, and stars Brie Larson, Samuel Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, and a bunch of new and returning members to the MCU. And speaking of the MCU, this is the 21st film in the MCU series, or saga, if you will. That is insane. This is the film right before Endgame, and pay attention to that. I'm going to revisit that little phrase a little bit later on in the review. But obviously, the big elephant in the room is, obviously this film was surrounded by a bunch of controversy and stuff like that. But this video is not about that. This is about my thoughts and opinion about the movie. So let's get into it. First thing I want to say is that I honestly wasn't looking forward to this film. Not because of the everything that was involved with, but I saw a lot of leaked set pictures and footage, and once we got the brand new trailer, I was kind of like, I don't know. I felt like something was off about the movie. I just didn't really dig it. I was kind of, okay, this is going to be like your run-of-the-mill origin story, film right before an Endgame. I don't know. I just expected something else. I don't know. I was excited to see Brie Larson as a superhero because I love Brie Larson. I think she's very easy on the eyes, and that she's a great actress. She's an Academy Award winning actress. And then the fact that Samuel Jackson and Gregg were coming back as Nick Fury and Agent Coulson, that was pretty cool. But I was like, something about it was off, and I just didn't really was psyched about it. The second trailer came out, still did nothing for me. But I'm glad to say that even though that was kind of my expectations about the movie going in, and obviously I heard a lot of stuff about people seeing it early, that people really liked it, people hated it, and stuff like that in between. So it's kind of like mixed, and I think that's why I ended up really enjoying the movie. Colored me shocked. I was like, you know what, I had a fun time at the movies with this one. Brie Larson, I feel like she did the best with what she was given with. It was some cool action. It did have some cheesy and comedy and cheesy moments. It wasn't a perfect film. Like I said in my tweet, I said this is not the best MCU film nor the worst. It's kind of just in between, kind of just there. And unfortunately, that's the biggest downfall for the film. It's just there. Like I said, this film is the movie right before Endgame, and I feel like the filmmakers just treated it like that. Like, hey, let's just put this together, an origin story for Captain Marvel, because she's going to be essential for the Endgame story. Let's just put it together and throw it out before Endgame. And that's kind of like what sucks. And I was like, you know what? We were all expecting a kick-ass, film origin story about Captain Marvel, and I don't think we got that. But like I said, it's not the worst MCU film. Let's start off with Brie Larson. I felt like she did the best what she could. Maybe it's like these directors didn't really know how to, it's always hard to kind of handle an overpowered character, like Superman and Captain Marvel. And I feel like her story, like, this goes with the elements of her backstory and the way it was handled. I felt like that was a big missed opportunity because, it's involved in these flashbacks, and I feel like a lot of those scenes were like just forced. It wasn't natural. Something like in Captain America: The First Avenger was. They weren't flashbacks and stuff, but still, I feel like that story was just naturally handled. And this one, I felt like those scenes were forced. Like, oh, okay, hey, this is the scene where we're gonna get a little bit more of her backstory, and I'm just like, you could have done that way better. And I feel like that's one of the main problems too, because you don't really get to feel like connected to her. You don't feel anything, and then towards the end, without spoiling anything, it's kind of just the action's kind of meaningless because you don't feel connected to her. You don't feel any emotional attachment, and then when something happens, it's like a badass moment. It looks visually stunning, but you don't feel anything for it. And that's what sucks. I feel like this is just I was hoping for like a run of the mill origin story, but this is kind of that's the thing. I felt like this was just put together. Even the beginning was a little bit messy. Some of the comedy didn't work. In a lot of the 90s stuff, I feel like was forced. A lot of the music, I mean, I love the music and the soundtrack, but it's just some of the moments is like, okay, this song definitely this is like just the song that you put in this moment, but it's like too obvious, and it's not like cleverly used in the story. Like in Guardians of the Galaxy, they found a way to use the great soundtrack in Peter Quill's cassette player. But in this one, like, they literally had a jukebox in the room and didn't use that to play the music. It kind of just played, and it's like, really, like, it was going for like a sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy feel, even Thor Ragnarok or something, but it just didn't achieve it. But look, I think that's all I have to say that I disliked about the movie. But yeah, I did really, like I said, I really enjoyed myself in the theater. Some cool action, some cool, there like that chasing with the car and the train was pretty cool. The shape shifting scrolls, that was pretty interesting. They had to kind of play with that in the beginning, but then they get rid of it. And that's one thing I will say, that as a I'm not a big comic reader. I have read some comics and stuff like that, and I try to keep up with the storylines and stuff. I thought the villains were supposed to, how could I say this? Let's just say there's some twists and turns, and I'm like, okay, like I honestly did not see that coming. But it was a pleasant surprise because I thought it was like so obvious, but then they went this way with it, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm in. But with that being said, Ben Mendelsohn was fantastic. The rest of the cast was cool. Samuel Jackson and Clark Gregg, Jude Law, Annette Bening, they're all fantastic. But Ben Mendelsohn, Jesus, he was fantastic in this role. I felt like he kind of like really played with it, really salivated this role, and you can tell even throughout his like makeup and stuff like that, you can tell like he was kind of having fun with that performance. But yeah, now that I'm talking about Samuel Jackson, Clark Gregg, that the aging technology is fantastic, because I didn't even think about it until the end. I was like, holy crap, like that's right. This play takes place in the 90s, and this is not how they look right now. They look a little bit older right now, and this technology is phenomenal. So again, some of the, like I said, some of the music and the score is pretty interesting. In fact, it kind of has this like unique sound to it. The soundtracks is amazing, but again, kind of misplaced. And again, Brie Larson, I feel like she had fun with the role too, but like you couldn't tell. There's some parts where I feel like she was kick-ass, and it was cool to see her use her powers and kind of unleash. Like in the beginning was pretty cool, because she was kind of like, she couldn't really use all her powers because of something. I don't want to, spoil it, but it's pretty interesting how they kind of mess with that. And yeah, it's cool to see, the but like the early beginnings of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that, or at least where Nick Fury was in it. Nice little kind of throwbacks, some fun cameos. I'm not going to say anything. The end credit scene was pretty cool. And also the cat. I mean, the cat was cool. I really enjoyed the cat. I personally have a cat, so it was cool to see a cat in the story somehow. Real quickly looking at my notes, I think that's all I have to say for the movie. The things I didn't like and enjoy, and to the things that I did really enjoy. Overall, I think this is a solid entry in the MCU. Again, not the best, not the worst. I feel like I kind of bagged on it a lot, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing it again in theaters. But unfortunately, I think they just could have done really great with this character, and I feel like they just kind of fell flat with it. They treated it as a stepping stone to Endgame, instead of just making it a unique film, kind of like a Black Panther or something like that, or like I said, Captain America: First Avenger. But overall, like I said, had fun. If you're a fan of the MCU, go watch it. But I wouldn't say you're missing out on a lot, to be perfectly honest. But all right, guys. That's it. Hopefully you guys like my review, and if you guys have seen the film, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. I'm going to be really interested to see what a lot of people thought about it. But yeah, if you guys want to catch us outside of YouTube, you guys can at The Real Talk with 2Ks on Twitter and Instagram. You guys can also find us on Stardust doing early reactions just at The Real Talk. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies. Peace.